Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the studio. You are tuning in to Episode 3 of Module 3 of the Blueprint for Effortless English. I'm your co-host, Ben.
And I'm Anna. Welcome back, everyone. We are moving right along through Module 3, the Conversational Engine. Over the last 2 episodes, we gave you the foundational tools for social survival. We talked about using filler words to sound natural, and we gave you the exact frameworks for navigating small talk without panicking.
The response to the small talk episode was incredible. Seeing you guys use the Ford method in your daily lives and finally escaping the trap of just saying, "I am fine," is exactly why we built this course. You are taking the physical skills from Module 2 and turning them into real human connections.
Today, we are taking the next step. Once you get past the small talk and start having deeper conversations with people, you are inevitably going to encounter a situation where you need to share your opinion. You are going to have to agree or disagree with the person sitting across from you.
And for a lot of English learners, that is a terrifying prospect. Disagreeing in a second language feels incredibly risky. You are worried about sounding rude, starting an argument, or accidentally insulting a native speaker.
So today, we are going to give you the exact conversational tools you need to navigate these situations perfectly. Today's topic is agreeing and disagreeing naturally.
Before we teach you how to argue politely, we have our usual quick favor to ask. If you are enjoying this 50-episode blueprint and building your conversational toolkit with us, please hit that like button and subscribe to the English Chatcast channel.
It is the absolute best way to help this community grow, and it pushes these lessons out to other learners who are stuck relying on robotic textbook phrases. Thanks so much for your support.
Let's start with the easy part, Anna. Let's talk about agreeing. You would think that agreeing with someone is the simplest thing in the world. You just say, "I agree," and move on.
Right. If you open a standard English textbook, it gives you a list of phrases for agreement. I agree with you. You are right. That is correct.
And while those phrases are grammatically flawless, they sound completely unnatural in a casual conversation. If my friend tells me that the new pizza place downtown is amazing, and I look at him and say, "I agree with you, that is correct," I sound like a robot confirming a data input.
It sounds so stiff. Native speakers rarely use the formal phrase, "I agree," in casual settings. It feels too academic. Instead, we use a wide variety of short, punchy phrases that not only confirm we share the same opinion, but also build emotional enthusiasm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, totally. It is so simple, but it is incredibly effective. The word totally acts as an amplifier. You are not just saying yes, you are saying that your perspective aligns 100% with theirs.
If I say traffic was an absolute nightmare today, Anna just nods and says, "Yeah, totally." It is an instant bond.
Another incredibly common one is "for sure." This one is very relaxed. It has a slightly more casual vibe than "totally." You will hear this constantly, especially from younger native speakers.
That movie was way too long. Oh, for sure. It implies that the statement is so obviously true that it does not even need to be debated. For sure.
We also use the word absolutely all the time. This is a great one because it works in both casual and professional settings. If your boss says, "We need to focus on marketing this quarter," you can reply, "Absolutely." It projects confidence and alignment.
Now let's talk about a phrase that confuses a lot of non-native speakers because grammatically it sounds like a question. The phrase is, "I know," right?
Oh, I use this one 10 times a day. I know, right?
It is the ultimate empathy phrase. When someone makes an observation about a shared experience, especially a mildly frustrating or surprising one, saying, "I know, right?" tells them that you feel the exact same way.
Let's say we are standing in a massive line at the grocery store. Ben turns to me and says, "They really need to open another register." I reply, "I know, right?" I am agreeing with his frustration.
Notice the intonation there. It goes up at the end, exactly like a real question. "I know, right?" You are asking the other person to confirm the shared emotional reality.
Another highly native way to agree is to praise the other person's thought process. Instead of saying, "I agree," you compliment the point they just made. You can say, "That is a great point," or "You hit the nail on the head."
"You hit the nail on the head" is a fantastic idiom. It means they described the situation perfectly. If someone analyzes a complex problem at work and summarizes it beautifully, you say, "Wow, you hit the nail on the head." It makes them feel incredibly validated.
I was just going to say that. This is brilliant for building rapport. It implies that your brains are on the exact same wavelength.
"This restaurant is a little too loud." Oh my gosh, I was just gonna say that. We are crushing the gonna contraction there, of course. I was just gonna say that. It is pure conversational magic.
So, replacing the robotic "I agree" with these natural phrases will instantly make your English sound more authentic. But agreeing is the easy part. It is safe. The real challenge, the part where the conversational engine usually breaks down for learners, is disagreeing.
Disagreeing is a social minefield. In many cultures, directly disagreeing with someone is considered highly offensive, and even in Western cultures, doing it wrong can instantly destroy the rapport you worked so hard to build during the small talk phase.
The biggest mistake learners make is translating their native language directly into the English phrase, "I disagree."
"I disagree" is an incredibly harsh phrase in spoken English. It is a brick wall. If you tell someone, "I disagree," their brain immediately goes into defensive mode. They feel attacked, and the conversation turns into a battle.
Same goes for saying, "You are wrong." Unless you are arguing with your absolute best friend or a sibling, you should almost never say, "You are wrong" in English. It is too direct. It is aggressive.
So, how do native speakers disagree? How do we tell someone they are wrong without making them angry? We use a technique called softening. We use verbal cushions to absorb the impact of the disagreement.
The absolute best strategy for this is the yes but method. Before you introduce your opposing opinion, you must first validate the other person's opinion. You have to show them that you heard them and you respect their perspective.
Let's look at a practical example. Let us say Anna and I are planning a team lunch for our podcast crew. Anna says, "I think we should get sushi for lunch today."
No, I disagree. I do not like sushi. Let us get burgers.
If I say that, Anna feels rejected. But if I use the yes but method, I soften the blow. I say, "I see what you mean, but I actually think burgers might be easier for everyone."
I see what you mean, but that is the magic phrase. It acknowledges my desire for sushi, it validates my thought process, and then the word "but" pivots the conversation toward his preference.
You can also use, "That is a good point, however." That is a good point, however, not everyone eats seafood. It is so much more polite than just saying no.
Let's escalate the situation a bit. What if you completely disagree with a fundamental concept someone is presenting, maybe in a business meeting? You cannot just say, "That is a terrible idea."
Right. You need a stronger cushion. A great native phrase for this is, "I hear you, but I look at it a bit differently."
Listen to how diplomatic that is. I hear you. It means I am listening. I am paying attention to your words. But I look at it a bit differently. It takes the blame away from the other person's bad idea and frames the disagreement as just a difference in perspective.
Let's try another one. Someone says, the marketing campaign was a total failure. If you think it was a success, you could say, I am not so sure about that.
I am not so sure about that. It introduces doubt without making a direct accusation. It opens the door for a debate rather than slamming the door in their face.
And remember episode 1 of this module? We talked about using the filler word actually to soften a correction. This is exactly where you use it.
Yes, actually is the ultimate disagreement cushion. Someone says, we need to spend more money on ads. You say, actually, I think we need to focus on the product first. The word actually magically transforms the disagreement into a helpful alternative suggestion.
I see what you mean, but that is a good point. However, I hear you, but I look at it a bit differently. I am not so sure about that. And simply starting your sentence with the word actually.
If you use these cushions, you can disagree with anyone, even your boss, and still sound incredibly polite and professional. It shows emotional intelligence.
But what happens when the disagreement gets stuck? What happens when you use your cushions, you present your argument, they present their argument, and neither of you is willing to change your mind?
This happens all the time, especially when discussing subjective things like movies, music, or food. The conversation starts to loop, and it can start to feel a little bit tense. You need an exit strategy.
You need to know how to stop the debate before it turns into an actual argument. In English, we have a few brilliant phrases designed specifically to defuse the tension and move on.
The most classic phrase is, let's agree to disagree.
It is perfect. Let's agree to disagree. It acknowledges the stalemate. It says, we are not going to solve this. We hold two different opinions, and that is completely fine. It closes the topic with mutual respect.
You can also say, fair enough. I use this one constantly. If someone makes a point that I still disagree with, but I understand their logic and I am tired of arguing, I just say, fair enough.
Fair enough basically means I accept your right to have that opinion even though I do not share it. It is the ultimate white flag of conversational surrender.
And if you want to transition back to neutral territory, you can combine these. You say, fair enough, let's agree to disagree. Anyway, what were we talking about before? You use the word anyway to pivot the topic completely.
We will actually be doing a deep dive into how to change the topic smoothly in episode 7, but anyway is your best friend for escaping a dead-end debate.
Now, I want to talk about a cultural nuance here, because disagreeing style varies wildly depending on where you are in the English-speaking world.
Oh, this is fascinating. The rules change depending on the geography.
Absolutely. Here in California, and generally across the United States, we rely very heavily on the softening cushions we just taught you. American culture values outward friendliness and consensus in casual settings. Direct conflict makes people uncomfortable.
Right. Even back in Colorado, if you just bluntly say no to someone, it is considered pretty rude. We like to beat around the bush a little bit. We use a lot of filler words to pad our disagreements.
However, if you are working in certain parts of the East Coast, like New York, or if you are dealing with British business culture, the rules can be a bit different. They might be slightly more direct with their disagreements.
But even in London or New York, the underlying principle of softening still applies. They might use different phrases like, with all due respect, but the concept of cushioning the blow is universal in fluent English.
Exactly. The goal is always to separate the idea from the person. You are disagreeing with the concept, not attacking the human being. The yes, but method ensures you maintain that separation.
Let's do a quick role play to put all of this into action. Let us demonstrate how a native speaker navigates a disagreement without breaking rapport. Anna, let us argue about something low stakes. Let us argue about coffee.
You know, I really think the coffee from that new cafe down the street is way better than the stuff we make here in the studio.
I see what you mean. Their presentation is great, but I actually think our studio coffee is much stronger. The stuff from the cafe tastes a bit watered down to me.
Really? I am not so sure about that. I feel like the beans they use are just higher quality. It has a much smoother finish.
That is a fair point. They definitely use premium beans. I hear you, but I look at it a bit differently. For me, a good cup of coffee needs a really bold, bitter kick to wake me up.
Fair enough. Let's agree to disagree. You can have your bitter studio coffee, and I will keep buying my smooth cafe lattes.
For sure. Anyway, we should probably get back to recording.
And scene! That was a masterclass in polite disagreement. Let's break down what just happened.
Anna started by stating a strong opinion. Instead of saying, "You are wrong," I used a cushion. I said, "I see what you mean," to validate her point about the cafe. Then I used the word "actually" to introduce my opposing view about the studio coffee being stronger.
When it was my turn, I didn't say, "I disagree." I used the phrase, "I am not so sure about that." It introduces doubt smoothly. Then I backed up my opinion with my point about the premium beans.
Then I used another massive cushion. I said, "That is a fair point." I complimented her logic. Then I used, "I hear you, but I look at it a bit differently," to explain my personal preference for bitter coffee.
At that point, it was obvious we were not going to change each other's minds about our coffee preferences, so I deployed the exit strategy. I said, "Fair enough, let's agree to disagree."
And I confirmed the exit with our agreement phrase, "for sure," and then used "anyway" to transition back to the task at hand. Nobody got angry, nobody felt insulted, and the conversational engine never stalled.
When you master these phrases, you unlock a massive new level of freedom in English. You stop hiding your true opinions just because you are afraid of saying the wrong thing. You can finally participate fully in debates and discussions.
It is incredibly empowering. You move from being a passive listener to being an active, respected participant in the culture.
Which brings us to your mission for episode 3. We want you to practice deploying these cushions in the real world.
Your homework for this week is the Yes But Challenge. Over the next few days, I want you to intentionally disagree with someone. It could be a coworker, a friend, or even a native speaker online.
But you must follow the rules of engagement. You cannot use the words no, wrong, or disagree. You must use the yes but method.
I see what you mean. That is a good point.
Then use the word but or however to introduce your opposing perspective. Pay close attention to how they react. Notice how the cushion prevents them from getting defensive. They will actually listen to your point much more openly because you respected theirs first.
After you have successfully executed the Yes But Challenge, come down to the comments section of this episode. Tell us the story. What was the topic you disagreed on? What exact cushion phrase did you use?
We want to see how you are applying these tools in your actual lives. The comments section is basically our digital classroom, and learning from each other's experiences is invaluable.
You are doing brilliant work. You have mastered filler words, you have conquered small talk, and now you know how to navigate disagreements like a diplomat. Your social toolkit is getting heavy.
In our next episode, Episode 4, we are going to talk about the most powerful tool for driving a conversation forward. We are going to talk about asking better questions.
We are going to move beyond the basic who, what, when, where, and why. We will show you how to ask open-ended questions that unlock fascinating answers and make people love talking to you. It is the secret to becoming a charismatic communicator.
It is going to completely change how you approach networking and making friends. You absolutely will not want to miss it.
But for today, go find a low-stakes argument. Deploy your cushions. Agree to disagree.
I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
If you feel more confident about sharing your opinions today, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Keep the conversation flowing. Until next time, keep practicing, keep listening, and remember, learning English with us is
A piece of cake. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time on the English Chatcast.